Good afternoon, everybody. We literally just signed off, and I figured this is the perfect time to just jump in and do this. It's the I'm Home Alone edition, so why not hang out outside, enjoy another cigar, and just have a quick talk about stuff. We just finished the chat on Rasa's channel this week. Hopefully this is coming through. I was looking jittery there for a second. I am patched into the I don't know, the mainframe, I guess, with my internet here. So hopefully this works. Hello, Tylox. One thing just to start with, I ran inside to grab, we were just talking about Ryan Heschke here at the end of our chat. And I went to pick up the, I don't know if I've shown this. They had an oversized kind of treasury style edition of the Marvel miniseries that I raved about every time an issue came in. And I wanted to show his piece, his Black Widow piece from here. Like I said, I think it was the second last issue. Stand by for some exciting YouTube footage of a man sitting outside by himself, flipping through a book. Here we go. So here we go. This is the Black Widow in Hell, a few page story here from Ryan Heschke, who did the Bad Girls Club, I think is what it was called. And it was from No Brow Press. But this is what he did for the series, for this Marvel series, and it's gorgeous. I mean, it looks great in the single issue form too, but it looks really phenomenal in this oversized volume. And if you don't know this series, if you haven't watched the channel for very long, I can't imagine those of you who are tuning into these live streams are in that boat, but stunning work. This entire series, this is kind of from the final issue. Stunning work. Not all of the stories hit home for me, but just to see the artists that are on display here was always a real highlight of this mini series. I love that Marvel takes these chances on these things, and having it in this bigger volume is well worth the money. If you can't find the single issues, I'd say go for this one. So there you go. That's for Rasa to have a look at. A very quick overview what we spoke about today. Scoyton and Peters, The Shadow of a Man from the Obscure Cities series that I went to pick up from the bookstore. Really great read. Not my favorite of theirs, but still enjoyable just because I love the world so much. If you don't know any of their work, I'd say pick up anything. It's something that Rasa brought up in the chat too. Where do you have to start? You can just start with whatever book you happen to find, and you're not going to be lost. I'd say that the highlight of my week reading, though, was Elektra Lives Again. For some reason that's passed me by, that I just didn't tune into and I didn't pick up, and I kick myself because this is so incredibly enjoyable. Apparently there is an oversized volume as well that Scott Connor was talking about in the chat, so I'll be looking for that too because that's beautiful. There was a garage sale, a comic book garage sale here locally that happened, I think it was Friday, Saturday, and it was today too, till 2 p.m. And it was really great to kind of go and dig through some boxes. Enough room in there so we weren't kind of on top of each other, masks being worn, that sort of thing. But normally when I go to conventions and things here in town, Marvel is, or at least maybe it's because it's on my radar, but it feels like there's way more Marvel books than there are DC. This garage sale, it seemed like it was the opposite. There was a lot of DC stuff. There was still a lot of Marvel stuff for sure, but there was quite a lot of DC. So I'll just kind of quickly go through the stuff that I picked up. Was able to pick up a Brave and the Bold with the Spectre and the Flash. Apparently it's the fourth appearance of the Spectre. Predates Spectre #1 is what the note says there. And this was a really fun read. Anything with the Spectre, anything with Deadman, I'm going to be all over. So this is nice to add to the Spectre collection there. Another book that I'm just kind of dipping into whenever I can find it. Where's the other issue there? A couple of issues of The Witching Hour. This one I haven't read yet. Get off of there, wood tick. Witching Hour #9. I love the covers on these old horror books and these anthologies. This is the only issue that I haven't read, but The Witching Hour is a really nice horror series there. This was my favorite, I think, of the ones I did read, #11. So there's a lot of Alex Toth art in both of these other issues in 11 and 12. But this was the standout for me. And then issue #12 there, right? Yeah. Issue #12 with some really great pinks and purples on the cover there. Was able to find Daredevil 111, which completes the run for me from 9 to 300, which is fantastic. It's really chewed up, but as I said to him when he apologized for the state of the comic, don't even sweat it. I love having this in the collection. I haven't sat and read it yet. I did a quick flip through, but I haven't sat with it yet. Speaking of Deadman, was able to find a DC Superstars Presents with Deadman and the Phantom Stranger. So looking forward to digging into that. I don't know the DC Superstars Presents series. I don't know what that spawned out of or how long it went, or if it's reprints. I imagine this is stuff that was written just for this series. What do we have there? Issue #18. So that's a nice one. Always pick up Unexpected. He had quite a lot of Unexpected, some early stuff, but it was just a little too pricey for me to grab at this time, even though he was giving some really good deals as well. So issue #165 of this was the series that I remember as a teenager. I had a couple of Unexpected issues, and I read them and reread them and reread them and reread them. I loved them. So slowly but surely, I'm chipping away at this run. I think it went 222 issues. I don't even think I have close to half of them yet. I believe this was one that Damien showed off here. Phantom Stranger #10. Gorgeous cover on this one. He had everything, or most of it, wrapped in Mylars or packed in Mylars. Yeah, which I can see the aesthetic. I can see why people rave about Mylars. It makes everything look just gorgeous. This will probably stay in this. For some of these early ones, even though I'm really combining all of my comics and bags and boards, I'm really trying to consolidate and not have a bag and board for every single issue. Some of the older books, I still have kind of single bag and board, so I haven't moved away from it completely. Another Phantom Stranger, issue #41 with Daredevil. I think this Phantom Stranger volume only went 42 issues, and I think Deadman appeared in the last few of them. I want to say that Deadman and Batman might have appeared in one as well, too, near the end there. So it's nice to have one of the last books from that run. I'm not a huge fan of this era of art, but these were just too cheap to pass up. A couple of bucks a piece. Silver Surfer, this one has a brief appearance from quote unquote the Defenders. I was kind of disappointed to open it up and flip through and see it's only a couple of pages and potentially not even the Defenders, but still kind of Doctor Strange, being a fan of Doctor Strange and the Defenders books, figured that would be nice to add to it. And then another in that Silver Surfer run as well, 67, with Galactus and Doctor Strange. But I really am not a fan of, I think it's Ron Lim, I believe is his name. The art doesn't do much for me. I don't hate it, but I'm not completely drawn to it. It doesn't blow my mind either. And one that I was very excited about, he had a bunch of Forever people, so I thought I'd give one of them a chance. This one has See the Eerie Return of Deadman in Forever People, and he appeared in the last few issues of Forever People. I had another one quite a while ago that was really just beaten up, crayon colored all over it. I think I found it in a 50-cent bin, and I checked it out. I bought it just to kind of check out the interior. I don't have it anymore. So this one is definitely a nicer volume that I've seen before. And he had pretty much the whole run of Forever People. But seeing Kirby do Deadman is a nice treat. We'll just crack this one open. Trademarked. Show you a couple of panels. It's just neat to see everybody, the way that they treat how you're going to draw a spirit. And I think I've passed right by the pages. It's also a really nice thick book as well too. Somewhere here. Here we go. I just love all those thick, chunky lines that Kirby used for some of these characters to kind of, it almost goes beyond the point of giving them some definition. You know, gives them a lot of texture, that's for sure. Sorry, stuff blowing away here. And then we get a seance to bring Deadman to be able to speak to everybody. And I love that panel. Is fantastic. The colors in all these horror stuff, I love the use of the greens and the reds together. You see that a lot in The Witching Hour as well, too, the issues that we were looking at today. Beautiful Kirby art there. I'm by no means a fan of motorcycles. I'm by no means an expert on Kirby. I don't have a ton of his stuff, but it's such an amazing style. So how can you say no? So that was pretty much it that I picked up at the garage sale. And then through the Comic Addicts, I finally was able to pick up the final issue of that I needed from the Imagine run. It only went 6 issues. I think the first 4 were comic size, and then the final 2 were more magazine size. And this is a Star Reach publication. So again, part of that transition from underground to what would be later called alternative. Really nice black and white art throughout. And who do we have? Do we have credits? We also get a letter from Will Eisner here as well, praising the series, but just having one little criticism. The way the dialogue ran through some of the stories kind of obscured the art, and just suggests to them that they try a little harder to find that balance between art and text, so one doesn't obscure the other. Like the Star Reach stuff, they're enjoyable to flip through, and there's some really nice art. I can't say that with the Star Reach things that I've read that a lot of the stories kind of blew me away. And what I remember of this Imagine series as well, this is 1979, so Michael Gilbert here as well. The stories didn't really stick to me in ones that I've read before. Quick Crack, yes, correct. But it's still good to have, especially with the way my collection has progressed over the years. This I like the kind of mapping out of the underground to alternative, and kind of having these staples, the complete runs of these staples in that kind of history. I think is a really great thing in my own personal comic museum, I guess. Yes, you have that one, Scott. I'm glad that I found it. It's nice to complete that run. That is it. A quick crack indeed. A really, really light week of reading. Just haven't had a lot of time to dive in. I did read a couple of issues. I got issue 8, 9, and 10 of Now, and I read issues 9 and 10, but I didn't want to talk about them because 10 we're going to try to talk about on a future chat, on our Sunday chat, because Damien's read it, and so has Earl Grey. So we'll kind of go through that volume story by story. issue 10 was enjoyable. Like they're all enjoyable. I think the only criticisms are the ones that I always have with some of the more modern independent or alternative comics, is that some don't hit. And I find that unlike in the past anthologies, in the 90s anthologies, when they didn't hit, they were still somewhat enjoyable. What I'm finding, and again, this might be just a reflection of me as a crusty old man, I'm finding the ones that don't hit in more of the modern anthologies, they really miss the mark for me in a big way. The story and the art, it really does a huge step outside of enjoyment for me. But there's some still really good stuff in those anthologies. There's always some highlights for sure. So that'll be fun to go through, especially with Damien and Earl Grey. I think that'll be great to look at those. So there we go. There's this week's comics wrap up. I'm going to get back to enjoying the last of the day and enjoying my cigar. Thanks very much for hanging out, everybody. Tylox, good to see you. Raga, Mr. Connor. Later, everybody.